Welcome to Any Connector Audio Insights, where operations meet intelligence. This is Ethan Cole. Today, we're talking about the next step many companies haven't fully made yet. They've connected their systems, but their operations still feel slow, fragmented, and overly manual. Because integration is no longer the finish line. Business orchestration is. Let's get started. Most leaders already understand the value of integration. When ERP, HRIS, payroll, inventory, and analytics systems can exchange data, work moves faster. Teams spend less time patching together spreadsheets, and processes become more efficient. That still matters. But integration by itself is no longer enough, because the real opportunity starts after the connection is made. Once systems can talk, the next question becomes, what should happen next? In what order, and under which conditions? That is where business orchestration enters the picture. Think of integration as the plumbing. It moves data from one place to another. Business orchestration is the operating logic. It decides how the business should respond when that data changes. One gets systems talking, the other gets the business moving in the right sequence. A few years ago, simply connecting two systems felt like progress. And it was. If an e-commerce platform could pass orders into an ERP, or workforce data could move from HR into payroll. That solved real operational headaches. But the bar has moved. Connected systems are now the baseline, not the differentiator. Today, companies can have dozens of integrations running successfully, and still struggle with delayed approvals, missing handoffs, inconsistent reporting, and teams stepping in every time something changes. That's the real gap. Integration answers whether systems can share data. Orchestration defines what should happen because the data was shared. So, what does orchestration actually look like? Imagine a new employee record enters your HRIS. In an orchestrated environment, that one event can automatically launch onboarding tasks, provision system access, notify managers, create payroll records, and trigger a welcome sequence. No one has to remember the next step, because the workflow already knows what comes next. That's very different from a simple sync. Data isn't just moving, the business is responding. So why do many organizations stop at integration? Because they solve problems one tool at a time. A process break. So a new app is added. An issue appears. So, a direct connection is built. Then another patch follows. Over time, the stack becomes more connected, but also more fragile. And workflow design is harder than data sync. Mapping fields between systems is often straightforward. But defining triggers, approvals, exceptions, ownership, timing, that requires cross-functional thinking. And many teams delay that work too long. Without a unified integration layer, each connection becomes its own isolated project, which creates scattered logic, limited visibility, and changes that are harder than they should be. Now here's the hidden cost of staying in integration mode. From the outside, operations may look fine. Orders flow, employees get paid, reports eventually get delivered. But underneath, teams are doing manual handoffs that should be automated. Approval chains live in inboxes. Someone still has to notice that data arrived in one system and manually act in another. None of those workarounds feels dramatic on their own. But together, they create a constant tax on speed, accuracy, and scale. And they make it harder for leaders to see how work truly flows through the business. This is where orchestration changes the game. Automation becomes contextual, not mechanical. Instead of automating one isolated task, you automate a sequence of decisions. Systems can react to conditions, route work differently based on exceptions, and keep teams aligned without manual intervention. Decision-making gets faster too, because when workflows are clear and data is already where it should be, teams spend less time chasing updates and more time acting on them. Operations also scale more cleanly. Point-to-point integrations become messy as volume grows. But orchestrated workflows are easier to evolve. Because the logic is centralized, not hidden across disconnected systems. And timing plays a bigger role than most teams realize. Not every workflow needs to happen instantly. Not every process should wait for a batch. Good orchestration matches timing to business need. Some actions require immediate response. Others work better on a schedule. The strongest models use both, based on what the process requires. So how do leaders move from integration to orchestration? First, map workflows before automating them. Define triggers, exception paths, ownership, and who needs visibility. Second, centralize the integration layer. So, logic is managed across systems, not buried inside them. Third, focus on outcomes, not just data movement. Because the goal isn't syncing fields. It's making sure the right actions happen everywhere they matter. And finally, build for change. Because systems evolve, rules change, new workflows emerge. Good orchestration helps you adapt without rebuilding everything. At the end of the day, leaders often see the tech stack as a list of tools. Orchestration asks them to see it as one coordinated operating system. That shift changes everything. Better automation, better visibility, better decisions, and better long-term investments. Integration is still essential. It's just not the whole story anymore. If your systems are connected, but your operations still feel fragmented, slow, or dependent on manual effort, the missing layer is probably orchestration. If you're ready to go beyond integration and turn connected systems into coordinated operations, any connector can help you build a stronger foundation for automation, visibility, and scalable workflows across your entire tech stack. Thanks for listening to Any Connector Audio Insights. Stay sharp. Stay ahead. I'll see you in the next one. This is your host, Ethan Cole.